Poor little boy got sued by parents for stealing their retirement money. Everyone believed them, even the judge, until he pulled out his evidence. Oh, honey, let me tell you what I heard from my hairdresser's cousin who works at the courthouse, and you know courthouse workers see everything. Pull up a chair, pour yourself some coffee, make it strong because this tea is piping hot, and we're going to be here a while. So there's this young man, Nathan Thompson, sweet boy, always kept to himself, never caused trouble in the neighborhood. Though between you and me, he always looked a bit too serious for someone his age. Never saw him at the block parties, always had his nose in a book or that laptop of his. Well, would you believe his own parents, Richard and Elizabeth Thompson, dragged that poor boy to court? Yes, you heard me right, to court. Now, I've seen some family drama in my time. The Petersons' divorce where she threw his golf clubs in the pool? Child's play. The time old Mr. Henderson disinherited his son for marrying that dancer? Amateur hour. But your own parents suing you? That's a new level of family dysfunction. Not because he was dealing drugs or robbing banks, oh no. They claimed he stole their retirement fund. Can you imagine? Your own flesh and blood? The child you raised, whose diapers you changed, whose scraped knees you bandaged. But here's the kicker. That fund only existed in their delusional minds. Now, I always thought something was off about the Thompsons. Elizabeth with her fake Chanel bags. Honey, I know real from fake, and those were faker than her blonde highlights. And Richard always talking about his investments at the country club. The man couldn't invest in a piggy bank without messing it up. Before I spill all the juicy details about how one old internet post completely destroyed their case right in front of the judge, and honey, was that judge not having it? I heard from Margaret, who works at the deli near the courthouse, that he was rolling his eyes so hard they nearly fell out. Tell me, where are you reading this from? I'm genuinely curious who else is as invested in neighborhood drama as I am. Because let's be honest, we all love a good scandal, especially when it doesn't involve us. So this whole disaster started months ago on a Tuesday. I remember because that's my bridge club day and Elizabeth didn't show up. Now I know why. She was probably meeting with lawyers. The woman missed bridge club for the first time in 5 years, and Gladys was stuck without a partner. We should have known something was brewing. Nathan had just finished some big project at his tech company. He's a senior software engineer, you know. Makes good money, drives a Tesla. The nice one too, not the cheap model. I see him charging it at the station near the Whole Foods. Always shops organic, that one. Poor thing even managed to leave work while it was still light out, which apparently is rare for those computer people. They work them like dogs in those tech companies, I swear. No wonder they all look pale and vitamin D deficient. His world is all about logic and codes and whatnot. Very predictable, he once told me at the mailbox. We had a nice chat about how he makes computers talk to each other. Went right over my head, but I nodded along. Sweet boy always took time to help me with my Wi-Fi password. Type a command, it works. Simple. Rules, order. But his life? Oh honey, it was about to become messier than my sister's third divorce. And that was a mess. She caught him with the babysitter and the personal trainer. On the same day, he was driving home feeling pretty good that day. I saw him pull into his driveway, practically bouncing. Had his music up loud, some of that electronic stuff the kids listen to these days. 10 years he'd been working toward this moment. That morning, he'd made the last payment on his mortgage. His little one-bedroom condo in the city? All his. Now, it's not in the fancy part of town. It's over by the old factory district they gentrified. But still, property is property. And in this market, smart investment. No more landlord, no more bank. I remember his old landlord, Mr. Kowalski. Cheap man, never fixed anything. Nathan had to threaten to call the health inspector just to get the mold removed. I remember when he first bought that place, Elizabeth had the nerve to tell everyone at book club it was quaint code for cheap in her language. She went on and on about how it was so brave of him to invest in an up-and-coming neighborhood. Meanwhile, their house? Mortgage to the hilt. I heard from Linda at the bank. But did that stop them from acting superior? Never. Every brick, every window was a monument to years of eating cheap ramen and skipping vacations. The boy never even went to Cabo. Can you imagine? Everyone goes to Cabo at least once. Even my nephew, who works at the gas station, managed a weekend in Tijuana. All for total independence. Financial, emotional, everything. Smart kid, though I always thought he looked a bit thin from all that ramen. I used to leave casseroles on his doorstep sometimes. Anonymous donations, but he knew it was me. He walked into his place, and apparently the new paint smell was still there. He'd hired my nephew's company to paint. They do good work, but charge an arm and a leg. Though between you and me, they gave him a discount because I asked nicely. Sometimes being the neighborhood busybody has its perks. Tossed his keys into a little ceramic dish by the door. Small thing, but it meant everything to him. His dish. His home. Though between us, a grown man getting emotional about a key dish seems a bit much, but what do I know? I cried over a potato peeler once when I was going through menopause, so who am I to judge? Not much furniture yet, still some boxes. I offered him my old armchair, but he politely declined. Kids these days with their minimalist aesthetic. In my day, we called it being too poor for furniture, but apparently now it's trendy. But he was happy. He'd done it. That night was his quiet celebration. No wild party, which is a shame because I had my binoculars ready. Not to spy, just to make sure everyone was being safe and responsible. Just him, a hot pepperoni pizza, and a cold beer. At least he has good taste in pizza, from Lorenzo's, not that chain garbage. Lorenzo makes his sauce from his grandmother's recipe. I've been trying to get it from him for 20 years. He was sitting on the floor, leaning against the wall, scrolling on his phone, when the building intercom buzzed. I know because I saw the mail truck pull up. I may have been watering my plants on the balcony. For the third time that day. Don't judge, those petunias need attention. Mail carrier with a certified letter. Now, certified mail is never good news. Never. It's either the IRS, a lawsuit, or someone died and left you their debt. Mark my words. He figured it was just the official deed, more paperwork. Poor naive boy. At his age, he should know better. Certified mail is like a rattlesnake. It warns you before it strikes. He jogged downstairs, signed the little electronic pad with a flourish, probably thought he was signing for good news, bless his heart, grabbed that stiff, official-looking envelope and headed back up. Opened it with his thumb. No letter opener? Kids these days have no sense of propriety. I have a whole collection of letter openers. My favorite is shaped like a tiny sword, makes me feel like I'm in a Jane Austen novel. The letterhead was some law firm, Willix, Crane, and Associates. I know them. They handled my neighbor's messy divorce. Sharks, every last one of them. They have an office in that fancy glass building downtown. I went there once to drop off papers for Mildred. The receptionist looked at me like I was tracking mud on her Persian rug. Then his eyes hit that first line. On behalf of our clients, Richard and Elizabeth Thompson. His parents. I knew those two were up to something when I saw them at the lawyer's office last month. I was there paying a parking ticket, completely unfair. By the way, the meter was broken, and saw them in the elevator looking all secretive. Why lawyers? Now, let me paint you a picture of Richard and Elizabeth Thompson. Moved to the neighborhood 15 years ago. Richard worked in middle management at some insurance company, always wore the same 3 suits in rotation. Elizabeth was a substitute teacher who spent more time planning her book club outfits than her lesson plans. They drove matching Camrys, beige, because of course they did. The kind of people who thought seasoning meant salt and pepper, if you know what I mean. The letter had all this legal mumbo-jumbo, breach of verbal contract, unjust enrichment, and immediate repayment of parent plus student loans taken out for your educational benefit. The audacity. Using fancy legal words doesn't make theft any less theft. Why? The letter had this super detailed list of loan payments for every single semester of college. They kept receipts like they were planning this all along. Suspicious, if you ask me. Who keeps records that detailed unless they're planning something? I don't even keep grocery receipts past a week. Fall 2008, $15,000. Spring 2009, $15,000. Every single semester, itemized like a grocery list. A very expensive grocery list. You could buy a lot of ramen with that money. And at the bottom, an astronomical number. The total was so big it seemed fake. We're talking 6 figures, honey. 6 figures. More money than most people see in a lifetime. You could buy 3 houses in my old neighborhood for that. It was enough to wipe out his entire life savings, his new apartment, everything. All that ramen eating for nothing. All those nights he worked late. All those vacations he didn't take. I remember one Christmas, he stayed home alone because he couldn't afford the plane ticket to visit family. I brought him a plate for my dinner. He was grateful but so sad. But the last sentence was the real kicker. Failure to arrange a payment plan within 30 days will result in legal action to reclaim assets, including but not limited to liens on property and wage garnishment. They were going after that boy's paycheck and his home. His own parents. The people who were supposed to love him unconditionally were ready to leave him homeless and penniless. They were coming for the home he'd literally just finished paying off. The ink on his final payment check probably wasn't even dry. I bet the bank hadn't even processed it yet. They were coming for his salary. The nerve. The absolute nerve. I've seen some cold-hearted things in my day, but this takes the cake. The poor boy just slumped against the wall. The pizza got cold, the beer got warm. What a waste of good pizza. Lorenzo's pizza deserves better than that. His new apartment wasn't peaceful anymore. It was suffocating, filled with one screaming question. Why? Now, let me tell you what I know about the Thompson family history, because honey, I've been watching this train wreck in slow motion for years. And when I say watching, I mean carefully observing as any concerned neighbor would. Not spying. There's a difference. To understand this level of betrayal, you need to know the story his parents had been feeding him his whole life. And feeding the whole neighborhood too. Elizabeth loved to play the martyr at every PTA meeting, every bake sale, every community garage sale. Oh, we sacrificed so much for our boys, she'd say while wearing her designer sunglasses from the outlet mall. It was this supposedly heartwarming tale of their sacrifice, his compromise, their team effort. Total BS, and I've been saying it for years. But did anyone listen to Mrs. Mel? No, they all thought I was just being gossipy. Well, who's gossipy now? Let's rewind 10 years. Nathan was 18, and all he cared about was getting into Stanford. Smart as a whip, that boy. Won the science fair 3 years running. Built a robot that could sort recycling. Very practical. Though it did mistake Mr. Peterson's toupee for plastic waste once. We don't talk about that incident. Not just for the name, but their engineering program was legendary. Even I know Stanford is the cream of the crop. My hairdresser's daughter tried to get in, valedictorian, violin virtuoso, volunteered with orphans. Rejected. That's how hard it is. He poured everything into that application. I used to see him studying at all hours. His bedroom light was on till 3 a.m. most nights. I know because I have insomnia and like to check on the neighborhood. For safety. Not spying. Gave up weekends for SAT prep. Skipped parties for AP homework. Never saw him at any of the neighborhood barbecues that year. Even missed the 4th of July fireworks spectacular. And we had the good fireworks that year, the illegal ones from Jimmy's cousin. The acceptance letter arrived on a Thursday afternoon. I know because I was pruning my roses, the pink ones that won the garden club competition 3 years running. The mailman, Carl, had this big smile. He knew what thick envelopes meant. Thick envelope, good sign. His hands were shaking as he ripped it open in the driveway. I may have been watching from behind my curtains, don't judge. It was a big moment. Like watching a movie, but real life. Congratulations. That word just exploded a sound of pure joy out of him. The whole street heard it. Set off 3 car alarms and Mrs. Chen's poodle started barking. He sprinted inside, waving the letter like a flag. I got in. Mom, Dad, I got in. Stanford. Their reaction? Meh. And that, honey, should have been red flag number 1. When your child gets into Stanford, you don't say meh. You pop champagne. You call everyone you know. You put a sign in your yard. Something. Elizabeth was arranging flowers, fake ones, I might add. She always was cheap. Probably from the dollar store. She'd spray them with perfume to make people think they were real, and gave him this tight, fake smile. Oh, honey, that's wonderful. Wonderful? Wonderful? Your son just achieved something 95% of applicants don't, and all you can say is wonderful? Richard was at his desk, paying bills. He took off his reading glasses and rubbed his nose. His tell for when he's about to lie, I've seen it at poker night. Lost $50 to me once and tried to claim he'd only bet 20. Same nose rub. Well, son, he said, that's a hell of an accomplishment, but we gotta be realistic. Realistic, my foot. Those two had money. I saw their bank statements once when they accidentally got delivered to my mailbox. And yes, I looked. For their safety. What if it was fraud? Nathan mentioned the generous financial aid package, a huge scholarship. The boy earned it fair and square. Probably merit-based. He had the grades for it. That's when they sat him down for what they called a dose of reality. More like a dose of deception. A big, bitter pill of lies. Richard pulled out a yellow legal pad and a calculator. Always so dramatic, that man. Probably practiced this performance in the mirror. He scribbled numbers, tuition, room and board, health insurance, travel, books. He inflated every single cost. I know because my niece went to Stanford the same year and it wasn't nearly that much. He was adding zeros like they were going out of style. Look, Nathan, Elizabeth said, putting her cold hand over his. Cold hands, cold heart, as my mother used to say. And my mother was right about everything except that business with the communists next door, but that's another story. The scholarship's great, a real honor, but it's only partial. Covers a good chunk, but there's still a massive gap. A gap we just can't afford. Liars. I saw them renovating their kitchen that same year. Granite countertops don't pay for themselves. And that was real granite, not that fake stuff. I touched it at their housewarming. They also got those soft close cabinets. You know how much those cost? We don't want to bury you in debt, Richard said, shaking his head. The irony is rich. Richer than their supposed poverty. And we can't co-sign. Our credit's not good enough for a loan that big. Another lie, they just refinanced their house at a prime rate. I know because Richard bragged about it at the Neighborhood Watch meeting. The State University here, he continued, is a great engineering school. You can live at home. We'll handle the paperwork, maybe take out a few small, manageable loans in our name to make it easier. We'll be a team. We'll get you through it. Team deception, more like it. Team steal your child's future. The dream just died right there at that kitchen table. I could practically hear that boy's heart breaking from my living room. It was that quiet kind of breaking, the kind that changes a person forever. I remember it cause we just pushed a massive software update at work, and everyone was buzzing with that "we survived another one" vibe. He whispered, okay, the state school is fine. He believed them. He was 18. They were his parents. And parents who lie to their children about something this big? Special place in hell, I tell you. Right next to people who don't return their shopping carts and those who talk in movie theaters. I wanted to march over there right then and tell him the truth, that I'd seen their bank statements, that I knew they had money. But who would believe the neighborhood busybody over his own parents? So I kept quiet. Biggest regret of my life, and I once permed my hair in the 80s. Then came Act 2 of their performance a few months later. Nathan's older brother, Marcus, not the sharpest tool in the shed, bless his heart, once asked me if dolphins were just gay sharks. I'm not making this up. Barely scraped by in high school. I tutored him in math once. It was painful. The boy thought algebra was a country in Europe. One night, the parents called a family meeting with big news. I know because Elizabeth called everyone she knew afterward to brag. I was deadheading my roses again. Those roses heard a lot of secrets over the years. Marcus got into a prestigious private university on the East Coast. Now that raised my eyebrows to my hairline. And honey, with my forehead, that's saying something. Nathan was shocked. I thought we couldn't afford expensive schools. Exactly what we were all thinking. The boy had logic on his side. Richard puffed out his chest. Like a peacock, I swear. A balding, middle-aged peacock in a JCPenney suit. We've done some creative financial planning. We're making a significant investment in Marcus's future. We'll sacrifice, put off retirement, maybe downsize, but he deserves the best start. The hypocrisy. The absolute hypocrisy. I nearly marched over there myself. Had to go inside and make myself some chamomile tea just to calm down. They could fund Marcus's fancy private education, but Nathan's Stanford dream was impossible? Make it make sense. It's like saying you can't afford bread, but you're buying caviar. Marcus knew it was wrong. You could see it in his face at the grocery store. Guilt was eating him alive, as it should. He started shopping at the Safeway across town just to avoid running into Nathan. I saw him there once, hiding behind the cereal aisle. But he kept quiet and took the gift built on his brother's crushed dreams. Some gift. Like receiving stolen goods, if you ask me. The next 4 years were brutal for Nathan. State University, living at home in his childhood bedroom. I'd see him coming and going at all hours. That beat-up Honda Civic of his, muffler so loud it woke the whole street. But did his parents help him fix it? Of course not. His life was classes, homework, and work. Bussing tables at that greasy diner on 5th Street, Murphy's Place. The smell followed him home. I could smell it from my porch. Grease and despair, that's what that place smelled like. The coffee was terrible too. I went once. Never again. Weekends, hauling boxes at the warehouse. No young person should work that hard. I used to see him heading out at 5 a.m. on Saturdays. 5 a.m. On weekends. When other kids his age were sleeping off hangovers, he was lifting boxes. He'd come home exhausted, long after his parents were asleep, and force himself to study. I'd see his light on till all hours again. The boy was running on fumes and determination. Meanwhile, Marcus would post on social media, "Yes, I follow all the neighborhood kids, don't judge." It's important to stay connected with the youth. How else would I know what eating means? Complaining about dorm food, bragging about fraternity ski trips to Vermont, pics from spring break in Cancun, while his brother was eating ramen and working himself to death. The unfairness of it all made my blood boil. I remember one particularly galling post, Marcus complaining that the lobster at some fancy restaurant was too buttery. Too buttery. While Nathan was eating generic brand mac and cheese. I had to block him for a week just for my blood pressure. The resentment was obvious to anyone paying attention. And honey, I'm always paying attention. It's my superpower. But Nathan used it as fuel. He graduated top of his class. I went to the ceremony. His parents barely clapped. Sat there like they were at a funeral. Meanwhile, I was cheering so loud security gave me a warning. Landed a great job. Got promoted repeatedly. Saved every penny. Never saw him with shopping bags or fancy dinners out. The boy wore the same 3 pairs of shoes for 4 years. I know because I counted. He turned into a bit of a hermit, honestly. All work and no play. I tried to set him up with Mrs. Kim's daughter, lovely girl, pharmacist, makes her own kimchi. But he was too focused on his goals. Maybe later, Mrs. Mel, he'd say. It's always later with that generation. Buying that apartment wasn't just financial. It was a declaration of independence. And those parents had the nerve to try to take it from him. After everything. It's like pushing someone off a cliff and then suing them for bleeding on your shoes. Now, holding that lawyer's letter, all that hard work felt like a cruel joke. Life has a way of kicking you when you're down. Just when you think you've made it, boom. Certified letter. He needed help, so he called Claire, a friend from college who became a lawyer. Smart girl, I remember her visiting once. Sharp dresser too. Wore those power suits that made her look like she could take over a small country before lunch. The kind of girl who color codes her notes and has her life together. We need more Claires in this world. They met at that quiet coffee shop on Main Street, the Blessed Bean. I may have been at the next table reading a very interesting newspaper. And by reading, I mean holding it up while listening intently. The crossword wasn't going to solve itself, after all. She read the letter, her expression changing from friendly to focused. That's when you know it's serious. Lawyers have poker faces, but this broke through. Her eyebrows did this little dance of disbelief. Parent plus loans, she said. Nasty business. Legally, the debt's your parents'. But they can sue the student claiming verbal contract or unjust enrichment. It's your word against theirs. Messy by design. Messy by design, just like the Thompsons. Everything they did had layers, like a really terrible lasagna made of lies and manipulation. But there was no contract. Nathan insisted. The poor boy's voice cracked, broke my heart. Sounded like the 18-year-old who'd just been told Stanford was impossible. They said they were helping. It was a gift. Claire leaned in. This is where it gets good. I nearly dropped my newspaper. Nathan, Parents don't just wake up and sue their kid for $200,000 for no reason. Something else is going on. Something's missing. Smart girl. I wanted to stand up and applaud, but that would have blown my cover. Then she asked the million-dollar question. Let's go back to the beginning. Stanford. Tell me everything about that scholarship. And I mean everything. Nathan replayed the whole story. I'd heard pieces over the years, but never the full picture. It was worse than I thought. Each detail was another nail in the coffin of parental decency. Claire listened carefully, then asked, "Are you 100% sure it was a partial scholarship? Did you ever, with your own eyes, see a document, a letter, an email from Stanford that explicitly said it was partial? Or did you just take their word for it?" Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. That girl earned every penny of her law school tuition. Nathan's face went through about 17 emotions. I counted. It was like watching a time-lapse video of someone realizing their whole life was built on a lie. He realized he'd never actually seen the financial aid details himself. His parents read it together, heads bowed like conspirators. Because that's exactly what they were. Conspirators in the crime of the century. Well, the crime of the neighborhood anyway. I don't know, he whispered. I never checked. I just believed them. Of course he did. What child doesn't trust their parents? It's supposed to be the one unbreakable bond. Claire nodded grimly. Then that's not the real fight. The real fight is finding out what they were hiding years ago. And we need to find out now. I practically cheered in my coffee cup. Justice was coming. The days after meeting Claire were charged with nervous energy. The boy was like a detective in one of those crime shows. All he needed was a cork board with red string. He called the state university for his loan records. I know because he did it from his balcony and I was watering my plants. Again, those petunias were very well hydrated that month. Then the big one, Stanford. My hands would have been shaking too. Calling the dream that got away, like calling an ex who married a millionaire. After being transferred multiple times, he explained his situation to a Mr. Adams in the scholarship department. Bureaucracy at its finest. But sometimes, just sometimes, you find a good person in the system. The man said records from a decade ago were in deep archive. Of course they were. Nothing is ever easy. It's like the universe tests you to see how badly you want the truth. No promises, but he'd look. Nathan felt like he'd thrown a message in a bottle. But sometimes bottles find their shore. That's what my fortune cookie said last week. That evening, his phone rang. Mom on the screen. The audacity to call after lawyering up. It's like stabbing someone and then asking to borrow a Band-Aid. Her voice was pure honey. Fake honey, probably corn syrup. The kind that gives you diabetes just from listening. Nathan, darling, we're worried sick. This lawyer business is a terrible misunderstanding. Come for dinner tomorrow. I'll make pot roast. Pot roast. As if food could fix fraud. Sorry we tried to destroy your life. Here's some meat. The woman had no shame. Against his better judgment, he agreed. Sometimes you need to look evil in the eye. Or at least look it in the eye while it serves you overcooked vegetables. The dinner was bizarre. The house smelled like his childhood. Probably pumped in artificial nostalgia. I wouldn't put it past them to have bought childhood home scented candles. Richard played the wounded patriarch, sitting in his recliner like a dethroned king. The chair that probably cost more than Nathan's monthly food budget in college. Elizabeth was the star, pulling out photo albums. Classic manipulation tactic. I've seen it on Dr. Phil. Look how happy we were, she said with perfectly timed tears. I've seen her practice crying in her bathroom mirror. She left the blinds open once. Oscar-worthy performance if the category was Best Deception in a Supporting Role. We just want that back. Your father's retirement took a hit in the recession. We're scared. Scared of getting caught, more like it. Then the pivot. We know how successful you are now. We're so proud. We just need a little help from the son we gave everything to. Gave? They took everything. It's like a pickpocket asking for a tip. That phrase, gave everything to, made me want to march over there and give them a piece of my mind. And honey, I have plenty of mine to spare. Nathan left fast. Called Claire from his car. Full court press of guilt, he told her. Good boy for not falling for it. Manipulation only works if you let it. Good, Claire said. That's desperation. Means their legal position is weaker than they let on. Smart cookie. When they start with emotions instead of facts, they know they're losing. Days later, the state university records arrived. For years of Parent Plus loans, maxed out every semester. The exact amount they claimed. Looking guilty on paper. But paper lies as easily as people sometimes. But Claire had another angle, the IRS. The American Opportunity Tax Credit. Follow the money, honey. It's like those crime shows say, follow the money and you'll find the crime. You could only claim it for money actually paid. The tax man cometh, and he wants receipts. Nathan called Richard, faking confusion about tax records. Smart move. Sometimes you gotta play dumb to catch the smart criminals. Well, smart is generous here. My accountant needs your old returns. Something about educational credits. Smooth as butter. The boy learned to lie from the best, unfortunately. Richard was suspicious, but agreed. Guilt makes people sloppy, and greedy people can't resist anything involving taxes. Elizabeth scanned and sent them within an hour. Too eager, another red flag. When people are too helpful, they're hiding something. Claire called back in 5 minutes. Gotcha. They claim the credit every year, maximum amount. If that tuition was covered by a scholarship they knew about, they didn't just lie to you. They lied to the IRS. This is our leverage. Tax fraud. I nearly fainted. The IRS doesn't play. They got Al Capone, they could get the Thompsons. I had to sit down and fan myself. Tax fraud. In MY neighborhood. What would the garden club say? Actually, they'd probably want all the details. Martha's been looking for gossip ever since the Peterson divorce got finalized. The next day, the bomb dropped. Email from Stanford. Dean Walker, head of scholarship awards. The cavalry had arrived, and they brought receipts. He'd found the archived file. Nathan was awarded the G.H. Thompson Merit Scholarship. Full ride. 100% of tuition, fees, room, and board for 4 years. I had to read it twice to believe it. Actually, I read it 5 times because Nathan printed it out and I found a copy in his recycling. For environmental reasons, of course. Official notification was sent to Elizabeth's email. They knew. They absolutely knew. There was proof. Electronic proof. The kind you can't deny. Nathan stared at the screen. They hadn't exaggerated or misunderstood. They lied. Big, fat, life-destroying lies. They took his golden ticket and buried it. Let him struggle for 4 years feeling like a failure, while funding Marcus's party school experience, where he majored in beer pong and minored in disappointing everyone, then had the gall to sue him for money that scholarship saved them. The nerve. The absolute nerve. I needed my blood pressure medication just thinking about it. The sadness vanished, replaced by pure cold rage. Righteous anger, honey. The best kind. The kind that gets things done. Claire, he said, I got it. The smoking gun. Good, she replied. Now we stop defending. Now we attack. I got chills. Like watching the hero in a movie finally get their sword. But the legal system is a grinder. Trust me, I've been through 2 divorces. Well, technically 1.5. The second one didn't finalize because Harold had that heart attack. But that's another story. Their lawyers spun a new tale. They never saw Stanford's email. Spam folder. Spam folder. The dog ate my homework of legal excuses. They thought it was partial, so they took loans as a safety net. Not liars, just prudent parents. The creativity of criminals. They should write fiction. The judge, tired of family drama, denied the motion to dismiss. Said their knowledge was a matter of fact for trial. Bureaucracy at its finest. Justice delayed is justice denied, but try telling that to the court system. Nathan's stress was visible. Lost weight, looked haunted. I left cookies on his doorstep, but he never ate them. My famous snickerdoodles. That's how I knew it was serious. Nobody refuses my snickerdoodles. Legal bills piling up. The irony was poisonous, burning savings to defend against a lie. Like paying someone to prove the sky is blue. One night, he almost broke. Almost called Claire to settle. Pay them and end it. I saw his lights on at 2 a.m. The boy wasn't sleeping. I made him a care package with chamomile tea and melatonin gummies. Left it at his door with a note from a concerned neighbor. He needed mothering, even if his own mother was the enemy. But then a memory surfaced. Elizabeth's obsession with that online forum, College-Bound Parents. I remember her always on that computer, typing away like a woman possessed. She'd ignore Richard calling her for dinner. That's how absorbed she was. She treated that forum like her personal kingdom, always bragging about this or that. My Marcus made honor roll. He got 1B+, and she acted like he'd cured cancer. Look at our new kitchen, the one they couldn't afford. Family vacation to Florida. They stayed at a Motel 6 and ate at Denny's. She had a username, Proud Mom, and loved to brag. Oh, did she love to brag? About everything. Their lawn, their cars, their boys. Especially their boys. Well, Marcus anyway. Nathan was only mentioned when he won something. What if she bragged about Stanford? The internet never forgets, honey. It's like that permanent record teachers used to threaten us with, but real. Nathan searched frantically. Found the forum. Searched her username. I was on the edge of my seat when he told me this part. Well, when I overheard him telling Claire. From my balcony. While watering my now-deceased petunias. They drowned from overwatering that month. And there it was, a decade-old post. My son got a full ride to Stanford. Proud mom moment. I screamed so loud my cat ran under the bed. Poor Mr. Whiskers didn't come out for 3 hours. Her words, just wanted to share some incredible news with my fellow college-bound parents. My son, Nathan, just got accepted to Stanford University, and get this, he got a full ride scholarship. 100% of tuition, room, and board. We are beyond thrilled and so proud of our brilliant boy. Hard work truly pays off. Feeling so blessed and grateful. Hashtag proud mom, hashtag Stanford bound, hashtag full ride, gotcha. Oh honey, gotcha. The internet is forever Elizabeth. Forever. The responses to her post were even more damning. People congratulating her, asking for tips, and her responses were all about how financial aid packages can be so generous these days, and how we're so relieved we won't have to take out loans. The lies just kept coming. Nathan printed it repeatedly. Called Claire immediately. I found it. She confessed. Online. Claire was giddy. This is gold. Direct evidence of their knowledge and intent. They knew and chose to defraud you and the government. The sweet taste of justice. Like my grandmother's apple pie, but with more legal vindication. The preparation for court was intense. I watched Nathan transform from victim to warrior. He got a haircut, a good one, not his usual supercut special. Bought a proper suit. I went with him to help pick it out. Navy blue, very sharp. Made him look like a young professional instead of a tired programmer. Court day arrived. I wore my best dress. This was better than cable TV. Purple with sequins, because justice deserves sparkle. Got there early to get a good seat. The courthouse cafeteria coffee was terrible, but I needed the caffeine for this show. Their lawyer, Mr. Reginald Ashford III, was still spinning the misunderstanding yarn. Slick as oil, that one. Probably charged $500 an hour to lie with a straight face. Had one of those pocket squares that matched his tie. You know the type. Elizabeth took the stand in a tailored suit. Probably bought with Nathan's money. I recognized it from Nordstrom Rack. I'd tried on the same one, but decided it made me look like a real estate agent. Her testimony was rehearsed. Struggles, love, sincere belief in partial scholarship. Fake tears and all. I've seen better acting at community theater. And I've seen our community theater's production of Cats. That's saying something. She kept dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief. Who carries handkerchiefs anymore? The theatricality. She'd pause at just the right moments, voice catching with fake emotion. We only wanted what was best for our boys, she'd whisper. Gag me. Then Claire stood for cross-examination. The room got quiet. You could feel the energy shift. This wasn't going to be pretty. Started gently. Got Elizabeth to confirm she was involved in college applications, knew about the scholarship, believed it was partial. Elizabeth was confident at first. Sitting up straight, answering clearly. She thought she had this in the bag. Oh honey, pride goeth before the fall. Then dropped the bomb. Are you familiar with College-Bound Parents Forum? Elizabeth's eye twitched. Her tell. I saw it from the third row. Just a tiny flutter, but I knew. She knew she was caught. I may have looked at it. May have? May have? She lived on that forum. It was her Facebook before Facebook. You had an account? Username, Proud Mom. Elizabeth went white. Whiter than my good china. Whiter than her fake designer bag. Whiter than the lies she'd been telling. Claire held up the printed post. Is this your post? My son got a full ride to Stanford. Silence. Deafening silence. You could hear everyone breathing. Someone in the back coughed, and it sounded like thunder. You stated Nathan was awarded a full ride scholarship covering 100% of tuition, fees, room, and board. Is that what you wrote? The judge leaned forward. Even he was invested now. Usually they look bored, but this had him awake. Elizabeth crumbled. I might have exaggerated for the online community. Might have. The understatement of the century. Exaggerated? Or lied? Did you lie then, or are you lying now? Boom. Claire went for the jugular. I wanted to applaud. My hands were literally itching to clap. Elizabeth sobbed. I was proud. I just wanted to brag. Pride goeth before the fall, and honey, she was falling like Humpty Dumpty. The judge slammed his gavel. Justice. Sweet, sweet justice. Richard's face during all this? Priceless. He went through the stages of grief in real time. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally, a sort of resigned acceptance that they'd been caught. His nose-rubbing tell was working overtime. Case over. Judge dismissed the parents' lawsuit with prejudice. They could never sue Nathan again. Ordered them to pay all his legal fees. A sum that would ruin them. Sometimes karma has a law degree. The judge's exact words were scathing. Something about abuse of the legal system and unconscionable conduct by parents toward their child. He looked personally offended. Probably had kids of his own. Leaving court, Nathan felt hollow. No triumph, just emptiness. Betrayal does that to you. Victory doesn't heal those wounds. He hasn't spoken to them since. Good for him. You can't choose your family, but you can choose to protect yourself from them. Marcus called weeks later, apologizing. About time. Only took a lawsuit and public humiliation for him to grow a conscience. Said he suspected but was scared. Ashamed of himself and them. Trying to make amends. Long road ahead. You can't unbuild a life on someone else's crushed dreams. I heard Marcus is paying Nathan back. Not court-ordered, just trying to do right. Sold his fancy car, got a second job. Maybe there's hope for him yet. Maybe. Nathan sold his apartment. I cried watching the moving truck. All that work, all that achievement, tainted by their betrayal. Donated half to a scholarship fund. What a good heart. Making sure other kids don't suffer like he did. Quit his job, bought a travel trailer. Adopted a shelter dog named Buster. Adorable mutt with one floppy ear. Looks like he's always winking at you. Perfect companion for a broken heart on the mend. They've been traveling for months. He sends postcards, so thoughtful. From the Grand Canyon, Mrs. Mel, the view here is almost as grand as your roses. Made me cry. Happy tears this time. I have them all on my refrigerator. 17 postcards from 17 states. Each one healing him a little more. The boy who never took vacations is finally seeing the world. He has a huge photo on his wall now, him and Buster on a mountain trail, both muddy, both laughing. Real, uninhibited joy. The kind you can't fake. The kind that comes from surviving the worst and choosing to live anyway. He shredded all the legal documents. Good riddance. Some things need to be destroyed to be truly gone. That photo is his new story, loyalty, joy, peace earned one morning at a time. Now here's the part that still gives me chills, that makes me check the obituaries every morning. The lawsuit destroyed the Thompsons. The legal fees and public shame were too much. Everyone knew. Everyone. Elizabeth couldn't show her face at the grocery store without whispers following her. The book club disbanded rather than deal with her. Richard had a massive heart attack a month after trial. Stress kills honey. Stress and guilt are a deadly combination. Died instantly in his home office. The same desk where he'd calculated those inflated college costs all those years ago. Poetic justice or just sad? Maybe both. Elizabeth, already fragile, collapsed. Fell into depression, rarely left bed. I tried to visit, but she wouldn't answer. Even brought my famous chicken soup. The door stayed closed. The curtains drawn. Developed pneumonia and passed weeks later. 2 deaths from one lie. The cost of greed is sometimes everything. Their house sat empty for months. The for sale sign getting more weathered each day. The grass grew long. The roses Elizabeth fake bragged about online died. Eventually, some young couple bought it for below asking price. They seem nice. No kids yet. Fresh start for that cursed place. Nathan attended both funerals, sitting in back like a ghost. I saw him there, stone-faced, wearing the same navy suit from court. Full circle in the worst way. Few mourners. Marcus crying silently, trying to speak, but no words came. What could he say? Sorry your greed killed you? There are no Hallmark cards for that. The minister kept it short. Generic words about calling home and peace at last. Nobody gave eulogies. What would they say? Here lies Elizabeth Thompson, who loved her sons unequally and paid the ultimate price. The truth hurts too much for funerals. Nathan felt nothing but cold emptiness. No relief, no triumph. Their selfish acts stole his past and destroyed their future. His independence bought with their lives. The highest price for the ugliest betrayal. The apartment felt like a tomb after that, haunted by their deceit and downfall. He couldn't breathe there. Sometimes places hold too much pain. Sometimes you have to run to survive. And that, honey, is how greed and lies can destroy an entire family. I still drive by their old house sometimes. Empty now, for sale sign getting weathered. The new owners seem nice. Young couple, no kids yet. They painted it yellow. Trying to brighten up all that darkness, I suppose. But you can't paint over that kind of history. The neighbors remember. I remember. Every time I see a college acceptance letter in someone's mail, every time I hear parents bragging about their kids, I think of the Thompsons. Take it from Mrs. Mel, I've seen a lot in my 67 years. Divorces, affairs, feuds over fence lines, and that incident with the Petersons' illegal rooster. But this takes the cake. Or should I say, takes the full ride scholarship? Nathan still sends postcards. The last one was from Maine. Picture of a lighthouse. Mrs. Mel, finally learning to see the light. Thank you for the cookies all those years. I knew it was you. N made me cry again. Good tears though. The boy's going to be all right. Buster too. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well despite everything. Building a life on truth instead of lies. Now, who wants more coffee? Because I haven't even told you about the Johnson divorce yet. Did you know he was hiding money in cryptocurrency? And she was having an affair with the crypto advisor? But that's a story for another day. Although, now that I think about it, what the Thompsons did makes the Johnson scandal look like a church picnic. At least nobody died in that one. Just a lot of lawyers getting rich and a Bitcoin wallet nobody can find the password to. Lord have mercy, this neighborhood has seen some things. Good thing you've got Mrs. Mel to keep track of it all. Someone has to bear witness. Someone has to remember. And honey, I've got a memory like an elephant and twice the stubbornness. The Thompson house finally sold last month. Below asking price. The estate agent said it had difficult energy. That's realtor speak for everybody knows what happened here. The new family seems nice though. 2 kids. Fresh start. I brought them my snickerdoodles as a welcome gift. Didn't mention the history. Some stories need to fade with time. But I'll never forget Nathan and what those parents did to him. Every time I see a young person working too hard, struggling too much, I wonder what lies they've been told. What dreams were stolen from them. Makes me want to shake every parent I see and say, love your children equally. Tell them the truth. Don't let greed poison your family. But I don't. I just watch and water my roses. And remember, because that's what Mrs. Mel does. I'm the neighborhood's memory, the keeper of secrets, the watcher of dramas. And honey, this drama? This was the biggest one yet. Although, did I mention the Petersons are getting remarried to each other after that messy divorce? Now that's a story. But like I said, that's for another day. My coffee's getting cold and these old bones need a rest. Being the neighborhood watch is exhausting work. Justice was served in the end, I suppose. Not clean justice, not happy justice, but justice nonetheless. The Thompsons paid the ultimate price for their lies. Nathan found his freedom. And me? I'm still here, watching it all unfold, one certified letter at a time. That's the thing about the truth, honey, it always comes out eventually. Sometimes in a courtroom, sometimes in an online post, sometimes in the obituaries. But it always, always comes out. And when it does, Mrs. Mel will be there to see it. Count on that.